Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist, the channel where we break down the hottest political and social gist making waves across Nigeria. My name is Oba, and today we have a fairy one for you. The political chessboard is getting intense. Just when you think you've seen it all, a new piece gets thrown into the mix, and this time it's a name you might not expect in a presidential level conversation. Social media influencer, very dark man. So, here is the quick background. A few days ago, the Labour Party presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi was on Channels TV and criticized President Bwala Tinubu's administration. He argued that leadership is about empathy and that the president showed none by failing to visit Yelwata community in Benue State after a tragic massacre there last month. Well, the presidency did not let that slide. Presidential aide Daniel Bwala came out swinging a response that has set social media on fire. He not only defended his principle but also made a shocking comparison, claiming that social critic Very Dark Man, who actually visited the community, has shown more empathy than Peter Obi. We have a full clip of that heated conversation, so let's watch it together and then we'll come back to break it down. So sit back and take a watch.
Who wants to lead the country from Mr. Obi's reference, it should have empathy. Does it look like this government doesn't have concern for empathy for citizens?
Very Dark Man has more empathy than Peter Obi. He's not a politician, but he was in Benue. Why does he have to wait until he becomes a president before he gets to Benue? Why will he wait until he becomes a president before he will demonstrate? Empathy is personal and it can be public. So him as a person, where
principal did not go there. Why is it that your principal, is there any reason why the president couldn't go to Yelwata, couldn't go to Mokwa, and commissioning bus stations when people have died when soldiers are being buried?
So one thing about leadership is you have so many things and you have to prioritize them. If the president were to be physically in Yelwata, would he have made the differences he was in Benue? You see, some of this rhetoric of Peter Obi and by extension the opposition is neither here nor there. It is because they lack basic things to talk about as far as governance is concerned. They go to talk, okay, because if he was not in Benue, they will say he didn't go to Benue. Now he went to Benue, why didn't he go to Yelwata? The shifting of goalposts is one of these elements you find in these internally displaced politicians. How many of them are gasping for power now? About 6, 7 of them. Who among them has gone there? Go to England, go to America and see the opposition, what they would have done. Secondly, Peter Obi is talking about, how did he even put it about that the president was commissioning something instead of going to where people have died? If he understands the institution of the presidency, if he understands leadership, if he even knows the constitution of Nigeria, he knows that under Section 5, the president exercises that power by himself through the vice president, ministers, agency heads, and government of the federation. So anybody in this government that you see in any part of Nigeria where there is crisis, and I dare say the national security advisor has been going to all these places where there are crises. The military officers have been going in all these places where there are crises. The intelligence officers have been going to all these places where there are crises. These individuals are representative of Mr. President, except if he doesn't know what Section 5 is. And this is why they don't even know how to register a political party. And they started complaining. I find it very intriguing, honestly, that this element that come together under opposition have still not been fair to the Nigerian people to come up with concrete plans that they have. They are association of people desperate for power. Unfortunately for them, Nigerians know them. These people do not come like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. We know their history. In fact, one of the characteristics of Peter Obi is falsehood, disinformation, and misinformation. Since 2023, when people fact-checked him, he has ceased saying, go and verify. So when I listened to some of the things he was saying that 2 days ago, I felt ordinarily we are not even supposed to react to him because Peter Obi now is a non-issue, is a non-starter. Already he has considered his presidential ambition to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now he has become a second fiddle, but he needs to fight for the vice presidential ticket with Rotimi Amechi. And from what we are hearing, they have in a bad way manner convinced him that he will be done.
So you've just heard it directly from Daniel Bwala. There's a lot to unpack there, so let's get right into my critical take on this. First, let's break down Bwala's strategy. This is a classic political communication and it's a three-pronged attack. Number one, the very dark man gambit. This is the most brilliant and controversial part of his argument by saying a social media influencer has more empathy than a former governor and a presidential candidate. He's trying to achieve two things. He's framing P2B as someone who is all talk, no action, a politician who sits in a comfortable studio to criticize, while a regular citizen VDM went to the grassroots to see things for himself. It's a powerful narrative designed to strip Obi of his man of the people persona. Number two, why wait until you are president? This is direct challenge to P2B's own action. Bwala is essentially asking, if you care so much, what's stopping you from visiting these places now? Does your empathy only activate when you hold office? This is a potential political question because it puts the burden of proof back on Obi. The third one, the delegation of duty defense. This is the official government's position. Bwala argues that president doesn't need to be physically present everywhere because he has ministers, security chiefs, and the national security advisor who act as his representative. In a complex country like Nigeria, he argues the president's job is to make high-level decisions, not to be at every single incident scene. Now, let's flip the coin and look at P2B's original post, which Bwala is responding to. Was P2B's criticism valid? Absolutely, from a political and symbolic standpoint. Leadership, especially in times of national tragedy, is heavily symbolic. The physical presence of a leader, a president, a prime minister at the site of a disaster or massacre sends a powerful message to the victims. I see you, I hear you, and your pain is my pain. It shows solidarity. Think about it. When tragedies happen in other countries, you often see their leaders on the ground within hours. So Obi's criticism that President Tinubu's commissioning projects while a community was burying its dead looks optically bad is a very valid political point. So who is right? This is where it gets complicated. Both sides are playing different games. P2B is playing the game of political optics and emotional connection. Daniel Bwala is playing the game of political defense and practical governance. The truth is, a president cannot be everywhere, but a president must also know when their physical presence is non-negotiable for a nation's morale. The debate is about where you draw that line. What I find most fascinating here is the elevation of a social media influencer like Very Dark Man into a national political discourse. It shows you the shifting power dynamics in Nigeria. The voices on social media are becoming so loud that they are now being used as a weapon and benchmarks in high-level political fights. So, I have to throw this back to you, my amazing audience. What do you think about this? Was Daniel Bwala right to compare Peter Obi to Very Dark Man? Does the president need to visit every tragedy site to show empathy? Or are representative enough? The most importantly, is this entire back and forth a distraction from the real pressing issue of insecurity that led to the tragedy in Benue State in the first place? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I read every single one of them. That's all the time I have for you today on Oba's Trending Gist. It's clear that the road to 2027 is already heating up with battles of narrative. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more content like this, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching. I remain your host, Oba. Stay informed and stay safe.